Hey, welcome to my channel. All right, so I have not been uploading anything. I have not been making any videos, and honestly, I'm just too busy. That's the reason. I know on this channel I used to do exploring videos and vacation videos. The reason I don't do that, it's not that I don't go a little exploring. Well, actually, I haven't gone exploring because it was winter and I live in Colorado. But I also, I haven't done anything exciting. I have gone to some cool places. Like I went to Cancun. I've gone to Burbank, California, things like that recently. But, there's nowhere I've gone that I want to haul around camera equipment and be annoying with a camera and, just kind of inconvenience myself and then come home and do editing and, things like that, which I'm not even good at. I'm not one of these YouTubers that pays somebody or knows how to do all that stuff. And nor am I going to learn how to do any of that because I don't get paid for making videos. So what's the point? So I'm not doing those. I'm not opening cards. It's not that I'm not opening cards. I'm just not opening them on camera because, again, who cares? I mean, for instance, the last thing I opened was Upper Deck Series 2, a bunch of it, and I opened a lot of it. And it was kind of one of those things like, yeah, cool, I got a Bedard Young Gun and stuff like that, but, it would have been cool if I got the gold $101 million card and I videotaped it, but I don't really care. I like to open the cards while I'm like laying on the couch watching YouTube videos or Seinfeld or Star Wars or something now at this point. I don't like coming down here and setting up the camera and shooting it and then putting it on, even unedited. I don't, it's just not my thing. And I actually haven't even been buying a lot of stuff to open, mainly because one, the cost, and two, we're at the end of the NFL season. Basketball pretty much has barely trickled out, and I don't really collect basketball. Hockey is something I do, but we're again at the end of the NHL season. I've gotten my Dustin Wolves, I've gotten my Calgary Flames guys I've wanted, and so, what am I going to open? I did open a box of like O-Pee-Chee Platinum for the heck of it or something, but even then, I am a collector, first. I'm not a investor, and even then, like the investor part of it's pretty stupid. If you're opening brand new boxes with the idea of selling cards and making profit, you're doing it wrong. And I'm going to be rubbing my nose a ton because my allergies have been just killing me. As you can tell, my nose is like completely red because I have just been, it's been windy. It's been crappy here in Colorado and my allergies are just murdering me at this point. But yeah, no, I mean, a good example is hockey cards are different. Let's first say that. Hockey is only 10% of the market. People collect certain players and certain things in certain markets. It's easier to sell hockey cards on eBay, for instance, than it is going to be even like locally at shows because, I get people that ask me for some weird cards sometimes when I have all my hockey cards, and usually I'll sell them pretty low. But then, like, here's a good card that's sitting right here. Here's a Vasilevsky. It is numbered 6 out of 10 dope show card. It's probably worth, I don't know, $30 or something. I'd be lucky if I can sell that for $10. It doesn't even matter if he's the greatest thing and they win the championship this year. It's just the way it is. There's 3 or 4 guys that might be looking for Vasilevsky in that card, but there's here in Colorado, but it's kind of harder. Now, NFL tends to be the other sport I mostly collect other than like Star Wars cards and stuff. In NFL, it tends to be very hype driven, with the draft coming up here in like 2 weeks. It's a great example of it. And, the funny thing is it makes me think of the other day I was pricing cards at the shop and it was a giant collection that we had uncovered. Wish we had found it a couple years ago. It was full, I mean, of Kenny Pickett cards and Desmond Ridder cards and people like that. And that's a great example. Mac Jones was in there. Mac Jones is now back. All three of those guys were highly collected at one point, worth a lot of money. They are all now backup quarterbacks. Even Justin Fields, which I have a ton of Justin Fields cards. Mac Jones, I mean, his career is pretty much dead. He's a backup behind Lawrence or whatever in Jacksonville, so he's not going to play. Lawrence doesn't get hurt. I mean, knock on wood. But even then, so he's just sitting there until his contract's up, and then maybe he goes the Drew Lock route and ends up on a team here for a $5 million deal. Maybe he plays well for somebody and eventually like does something. So if, you can buy him cheap, if you're going to gamble on that, buy him cheap and hold on to him, but again, I mean, what are we talking about? Buy a $5 card, hope it's worth 10. You're not going to want to go buy his one of one National Treasures crazy dope card for hundreds of dollars and hope it's worth thousands of dollars. It's not going to happen. Same with Desmond Ridder, tons of hype on him at the beginning of the year. Even Jeff Wilson, remember, he was heavy into Desmond Ridder. Everybody thought Desmond Ridder, he played good in college. He's got an opportunity. Nobody thought the Falcons were going to be good or anything. But if you had said Falcons are going to suck, they're going to sign Kirk Cousins, and then Ritter's going to get traded. He's not going to, like, it's crazy to think they didn't keep him as like a backup or anything. That's how little they thought of him. And they sent him to Arizona, and now he's Kyler Murray's backup. Same with Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett wanted off the team because they signed Russell Wilson. He could have stayed there. He said, I want out. So they screwed him and they sent him to the Eagles, where he's now backing up Jalen Hurts. So both those guys, Hurts and Kyler Murray, both guys with big contracts. Even if they get hurt, one of those guys is going to have to play lights out crazy good for there to be now a bump in any part of his market. And then the thing is he can't stay on the team, because even if, say, Jalen Hurts got hurt and Kenny Pickett comes in and plays great, he's still not better than Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is sitting there with a huge contract. Nobody's going to trade for a guy that just got hurt that has a huge contract. So best you could hope for is that Kenny Pickett then goes and gets traded to, I don't know, Los Angeles or some other team, where he can then play, So, I mean, that's the thing is you got to think of that with the draft coming up. There's, Drake May, there's the dude from LSU, there's Caleb Williams, there's all these guys that got a lot of hype. I mean, I keep on even hearing people talking about how Spencer Rattler, out of all people, could be a 3rd round pick. Maybe the Broncos take Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler, I'm an OU fan. Spencer Rattler sucked at OU. He was a very mediocre quarterback at OU. Caleb Williams was a nobody who they brought in and that played better than him. And then he took his ball and left and went to South Carolina, where he continued to be a mediocre quarterback. Spencer Rattler, in any regular market, should be a 6th round, 7th round pick, but you always get the Brock Purdy type guy, which crazy out of that draft class. The last quarterback and the last player taken in the draft is the best quarterback in that draft that nobody would have kept anything of. It's just like Puka Nacua or any of those guys. And again, let's talk about football. Collecting football, unless you are a collector and you collect certain players or certain teams. I collect guys that played at OU. That's one of my things I do. I'll collect, I'm a Bears fan, but I don't particularly collect just Bears players. I'll collect certain guys or something like that. But a lot of the time, it's like I'll kind of key in on a guy that I like. I'll collect him. But if he gets one of the ones I have a ton of is Amon-Ra St. Brown. I like Amon-Ra St. Brown. I thought his name was cool. Guy catches a ton of balls. He plays for Detroit. He's gotten progressively better 2 years in a row now. Amon-Ra St. Brown, though, ends up being worth a decent amount of money. I'm selling off my whole collection. Like, if he starts out Puka Nacua style last year, and Puka Nacua was one of those dudes who came out of nowhere. And that's the thing with like running backs, wide receivers, things like that. There's those guys that just kind of come out of anywhere, but they kind of have a cap hit. They have a kind of a top part. Everybody always wants the quarterbacks. So, if you pull or if you go into the hype, you buy some stuff, especially right after the draft, and you're chasing, let's see here, Drake May. Drake May is from North Carolina. Name a North Carolina quarterback that's good. Because the last two, Sam Howell just got traded. That's another guy. He started the whole season. I have a dope show Sam Howell card I got in a break out of Prism. That's like an auto. That's like numbered to 10. There was no hype on him by the time because Prism came out so late that he had already kind of sucked. So my hope was, well, maybe he's the starting quarterback next year and maybe he plays really good and I can get some money out of this card. Nope. They trade him. He's now Seattle's backup. So the hope is Geno Smith kind of sucks, and then in 2 years, Sam Howell's the starter and plays well. I mean, that's the only thing. And since I got the card in a break, I mean, literally, if that card ends up being worth $100, I'm just going to sell it, you know? And that's the thing, is you got to kind of pick your points and pick your numbers. Don't get greedy and just sell a card. And this is more for people that are investing in cards than really buy, sell trading cards or anything like that. No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'll pick up guys all the time because I'm going to sell them at a card show or trade them or something like that. And I know people are looking for that guy. There's other ones though where I don't want anything to do with them. You know, you can bring me, like the other day, where, like I just said, the other day I was going pricing cards and it was literally Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, Mac Jones, all those guys. And every one of those cards was $5 to $2 now. And at one point, you know, they might have been $15, $20 and $8 cards and things like that. And they're just, those guys are all backups. They're worth nothing now. You know, really the only thing to do with it is, you know, that guy that's digging through the Falcons box and finds Desmond Ridder and thinks Desmond Ridder is going to be the savior at some point in Arizona or something. Maybe he buys up all the Desmond Ridders for $2 and $3 and we can finally get rid of them. But there's not going to be some big giant rush. You know, it's not one of those things where Desmond Ridder does somehow play and then gets traded or something, that we go through our boxes and we pull them out and we're like, oh, you know, Slap Zero's buying every one of those numbers because Desmond Ridder's selling. It's not going to happen. So, you know, we just leave them in there. You know, who knows how much we paid for those at one point. And that's the problem with cards, is that you need to shuffle those quick sometimes on those quarterbacks. So, you know, I've sold off, I had a bunch of nice Caleb Williams cards and I sold them off because right now was like the high of the market for Caleb. I don't know if he's going to be good. And I'm a Bears fan. I don't know if he's going to be good for the Bears. I don't know if I just sold some crazy good cards or something. The fact that I got like $850 for one and like $600 for another and $500 for this one and stuff, they were all things that I paid like $100 for, $50 for, you know, or I pulled them out of a box, you know. And really, again, I'm a collector. Thus the reason my whole basement is hoarded with cards. I'm a collector first. So what I always do is if I buy a box, and I tell people this in the shop all the time, you know, I have a price point that I'll spend on certain boxes or something. If I buy a box for $300, I open it and there's $100 worth of cards I can, you know, sell out of it. And then there was 3 or 4 cards that I kept for my collection in it. Well, then I only paid $200 for the box. That's the way I look at it. I look at those as like rebates or coupons almost that I'm pulling. Now, of course, like anybody, I'd love to pull that $100,000 card or $1 million card out of a box. I never have. I think the best card I've ever pulled was like a card I sold for like, you know, $1,200 or something like that. And that was, again, I mean, if you added it up, if you are an investor, the worst thing to do is buy boxes and open them. If you are a collector or you just enjoy opening boxes, buy them, open them up. The problem is though, right now too, is we're in this world of Panini and Fanatics fighting each other. And so, you know, I point out to people all the time that like Prism football, I don't know, it's over $1,000. It should be less. It should be like a $600 box, $800 box at the most. Because even though you get 2 autos in it, you can't pull, you know, your top quarterback. You can't pull CJ Stroud. And, you know, and again, look at this draft class this last year. You have CJ Stroud, played amazing. You have Bryce Young, who sucked. So if you pulled any cool Bryce Youngs, all you could do is hold on to him and hope that he plays better. And then if he plays better and there's any bumps, sell him. Sell him. You know, that's all you could do. Anthony Richardson played great for 4 games before he got injured. You know, again, Anthony Richardson comes out, plays lights out. That might be your time to sell Anthony Richardson cards. You know, and then the rest of the guys in that quarterback class, you know, Will Levis, sure, he had like 2-3 good games. He's going to be the starter at least. So maybe if you're holding some Will Levis, you hold on to him. But again, I mean, he plays in Tennessee. They got rid of Derrick Henry, so he's not going to be handing the ball off to Derrick Henry 46 times a game. But again, if Will Levis comes out and has some lights out games and you're holding some nice Will Levis cards, maybe you sell them right then. You know, CJ Stroud would be the only guy. And that's the thing is, you can't get Bryce Young, you can't get CJ Stroud, and you can't get Will Levis autos in it. Now, everybody loves the autos, but again, so what's your best case scenario out of a box of Prism that you're best case scenario is Anthony Richardson and, you know, I don't know, Bijan Robinson, a running back, you know, which again, running backs don't carry value for a long time. You have a big running back card, sell it. If you have a big, even wideout card, you know, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, you know, Jordan Addison this year or something like that, and you got Puka Nacua. If you got a guy that's worth a lot of money as a wideout, you almost want to sell him. You know, you want to take the money and run, because the chance of those guys becoming the next Jerry Rice is few and far between. I mean, think of how amazing, you know, Bryant was, or even Antonio Brown was, or you know, Emmanuel Sanders, you know, was a great player for the Broncos. You know, you think of those guys, you think of, I mean, other than Jerry Rice or something like that, you know, some guy needs a career like that. I mean, nobody comes into the shop asking if we have Terrell Owens cards, and Terrell Owens was a great player, you know, but nobody comes in asking like that. You know, it's really one of those, like, if you like a certain player, or you like a guy from a certain college, or you like a guy on a certain team or something, collect them. Sure do. But if you're kind of looking at buying cards and flipping them, you know, you can hope. But again, on like wideouts and running backs, if the card shoots up any, I mean, I almost always sell it. You know, if I paid $5 for those Justin Jefferson rookie cards, and now they're going for $8, I sell them for $8. You know, I take the $8. I'm not worried about it getting up to $15, $20, and people are looking for them. You know, so I don't know. That's my opinion on that. You know, I'll start making more videos, maybe more of these type of videos where I just talk about cards, because I work at Mike's Stadium Sportscards in Aurora, Colorado. I'm there 3 days a week, sometimes more. And I kind of, that's my whole life is just sports cards, working at the shop now, and then doing home maintenance, home chores, doing things. I used to show videos. There's a couple times where I've shown videos of how clean and organized my basement is. It is not now. I have very much neglected my card collection in my basement. I've been selling a lot of stuff, selling off a lot of stuff. I do sell on eBay, Sullivan Cards Collectibles. I have nothing listed because I've been selling like basically bulk lots to other guys that do card shows and stuff, just to get rid of some of the bulk. I don't even care if I make any money, or if I, you know, how much I'm losing. I don't care. I just need the bulk gone. You know, as I sit here and stare at like my 900 and NES games, I go, maybe I should sell some of my NES games or something. You know, like sometimes I think of things like that. Or I'm sitting here looking at a ton of Star Wars books, and I go, maybe I should sell some of those, or watches, or any of the other things that I've kind of hoarded and collected over the years. So anyways, I'm going to keep this right at this time. Anyways, you know, thanks for watching my channel. If you like any of the comment or something, give me a comment, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. But I'll start trying to pump out maybe a video every week where I just talk about cards and like what the market's doing or what's going on or anything. I am going to Santa Fe this weekend to watch the Savannah Bananas play in Albuquerque. So I will probably at least click a couple videos with my phone of the hilarity of the Savannah Bananas. And maybe I'll actually plug those into my computer and edit a small video of the Savannah Bananas together and put that on the channel. Other than that, though, I'm not going to, you know, show videos of myself walking around in the casino, or, you know, I don't play golf or anything, so I'm not going to be playing golf or anything like that. But maybe I'll go to, I am in Santa Fe, so I'll probably go to Meow Wolf. Might shoot some video. There's about 9 billion videos of Meow Wolf in Santa Fe, but it's pretty cool. So maybe I'll shoot some video of the hilarity that's at Meow Wolf. It's pretty crazy. And I got a Meow Wolf video here of the Denver one. I have gone to Meow Wolf many years ago, or no, knew of it. I've gone there, but it wasn't open. But yeah, anyways, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, whatever. I don't really care. I don't make any money from YouTube. I just make these out of entertaining purposes anyways. So thanks for watching.